The Metro on 1019 WDET. I'm Kerry Jr. II. The Shrine of the Black Madonna has a long and significant history in the maturation of Detroit's religious and political scene. The church is guided by Pan-African Orthodox Christianity, and it was founded at a time when Black Americans were fighting for social and political progress. The Black Slate is its political platform, and it weighs in on Detroit politics. It was one of the early voices to endorse former Mayor Coleman Young in 1973, and it remains a consistent critic of Detroit's political realm. The Black Slate recently weighed in on this year's mayoral race and endorsed Reverend Solomon Kinloch. Joining me now is the chairman of the organization in the Black Slate, Candia Milton. Candia, welcome to the Metro.
Good morning, Kerry. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I should say welcome back to the Metro, actually. Thank you for joining us again.
Indeed.
All right, we got a few minutes here. I want to make sure we can get to everything we want to because this will be a little tight, but thanks for joining me, and let's hop in. So the Black Slate, as I mentioned, has a long history in politics here in Detroit. It was founded in conjunction with the Shrine of the Black Madonna. Can you first explain how that relationship informs the Slate's perspective when it comes to politics in the city?
Yeah. Thanks for that question, because I do think it is central to who we are as an organization, and will explain the connection to the shrines of the Black Madonna, the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church. Black Slate is largely made up, in fact, wholly made up of members of the shrines of the Black Madonna. Certainly, it is a separate entity, but those who are really on the Black Slate, come from a diverse background, but have one thing in common, that is central to the teachings of our faith, and that is, every aspect of our life is sacred. Our economics are sacred. Our engagement in community is sacred, and thus our politics are also sacred. And so we bring that faith lens to the Black Slate, and it certainly does inform our decision making.
Okay. So what is the process here? I know some publications hold interviews with candidates before they endorse. What does the Black Slate do to understand what the candidates represent and whether those candidates are the best for the city? I know you also endorse city council members as well as mayor, or what does that look like?
And we weigh in on multiple levels of politics, and I think that's an important question that you ask, because a lot of times people think it's just an interview process, but I can tell you throughout the year, members of the slates are involved in multiple aspects of the communities. I mean, we're attending 13th, 14th congressional district meetings. We're attending community meetings. We're attending neighborhood association meetings. We attended over 6 forums. We take a look at the disposition of candidates or politicians when they're out in community, to understand how they respond to the needs of the community and the tone in which they respond to the needs of the community. And so the interview, which is a 40-minute process, is a very small part of the process, but certainly it gives us that one-on-one sort of intimate conversation to have to take a deeper dive into the policies that we need clarification on.
Hey, Candy, I think I heard what you said. There was a little bit of a ding on your end. Did you say the interview process was?
Yes. The interview process is but a small part of the process. It is that community engagement that really largely informs, ultimately, our decision making.
Okay, I can hear you clearly now. Okay, so in our last conversation, you mentioned how the Black Slate's goal was to originally support Black politicians, but policy is what's most important. So as we start to focus in on this current election, what policies are most important, or you find the issues that are most important to highlight when it comes to assessing the different candidates in this race?
Yeah, and so as we think about the policies, we're talking about perspective, right? And so, we did certainly take a look at what the candidates have done in the past. But so let's take a look at the policies as we look at things prospectively. Housing, affordable housing is a big issue in our city, and how we define affordable housing is important. As you know, the area median income is somewhere in the area of what, $37,000. And the way we define affordable housing, you know, vis-a-vis HUD guidelines, that right there really, and the housing, or should I say, the pricing structure that flows from that, really is not affordable for a lot of Detroiters. And so, affordable housing and redefining affordable housing so that it meets the needs of Detroiters is critically important. Access to job opportunities, and understanding how to train and ready a workforce that can meet the demands that we have here in the city of Detroit. I mentioned the area median income, but if you take a look at the jobs that exist, particularly in the tech space, we're talking about $80,000 job opportunities that exist. And so we take a look at that gap between the $37,000 median income and the opportunities that exist. What are the training needs to make certain that Detroiters are able to access the jobs? Education is important to us. Public safety certainly is important to us, and not public safety from the standpoint of simply throw a lot of police officers on the streets, but what are some alternatives to incarceration? How do we deal with the underlying issue that lead to incarceration? And so, is there, do the candidates have a plan for that?
Yeah, it sounds like, because public safety, education, jobs, and housing are some common themes that we've heard across different campaigns. And I want to get to Kinloch in just a second. Before, I want to remind the listeners, just when they're listening, I'm still hearing some sounds on your end a little bit there, Candia. There might be some ruffling on your end. If we could.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do move around a little bit.
Oh yeah. For about 5 more minutes, if you can hang out with us, without to minimize some of the movement there, that'd be really helpful for us and our listeners.
Sorry
no, you're good. You're good. You're listening to the Metro on 101.9 WDET. I'm Kerry Jr. II. My guest is Candia Milton. He's the chairman of the political organizing group, the Black Slate. The group recently endorsed Reverend Solomon Kinloch for mayor. So to that point, on those issues, you all endorse Solomon Kinloch. Why? What did he say about those issues you just raised? Housing. Let's start with one. Let's say housing, for instance, that stuck out for you all.
Yeah. So the recognition that the distinction between how the federal government defines AMI and eligibility for affordable housing, making that distinction between how they define it and our reality here on the ground, and the recognition that there must be we must really invest in funding that gap, and making certain that housing is truly affordable in the city of Detroit for the citizens of Detroit. And so he did speak with specifics with respect to how he would anticipate filling in that gap to make certain that housing was more affordable, and that for those who are in position, home ownership was a part of that equation as well. We're seeing affordable housing being built, and we take a look at the pricing of those houses. We're seeing $250,000, and they're being defined as affordable housing structures. And we know that that's not the reality on the ground.
As far as public safety, anything in particular that he said that you were saying, okay, this is the way I want it to be addressed?
Yeah, so certainly a lot of candidates talk about community policing, and it's certainly a broad term, right? And so we drilled down and got a sense of how he was defining community policing, and that is making certain that there was an ongoing and transformative relationship between police and community, but also making certain that violence intervention was central to public safety, making certain that before the violence happens, that we're seeing the signs, and that community and trusted ambassadors or trusted messengers were certainly a part of the equation. Those messengers who derive from the community, those messengers who have lived experience within those specific communities, those trusted messengers who are at the community meetings, at the neighborhood block club associations, and can relate to people specifically in those communities, being at the center of violence intervention programming. And so, that's stuck out as something central and important to, the members of the Black Slate.
Okay. I have some questions, a few more questions. We only have about 2 more minutes, so I want to get as brief of answers as I can. I apologize for putting you in that pickle. But real quickly, I want to know, Kinloch has argued that Detroiters need someone from outside of politics to be the next mayor. Do you agree with that?
The notion of someone bringing a fresh set of eyes to the conversation, to politics, I do think can certainly be beneficial to the electorate, to Detroiters.
Did that weigh in on your decision at all? Is the fact that he was outside of politics?
It did not. It did not weigh in positively or negatively, although we saw the benefits. We also know that politics is something that must be engaged once you go down this road. And so we believe that Pastor Kinloch certainly understands that. He has a brother who has been at the center of politics, and he has him by his side, Jonathan Kinloch, who can certainly inform him of the importance of engaging the politics, of driving, let me just say this, of driving good public policy for the benefit of Detroiters.
All right, Candy, I won't have time for my final questions because we're running close to time here, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. I do want to say thank you for joining us. I do want to apologize that we didn't get to have this conversation in its entirety, but just want to thank you for joining us on the Metro.
All right, thank you, Kerry. Thank you for having me. Look forward to talking more.
All right, coming up, a new play from Detroit Public Theater and the Arab American National Museum asks why Americans are so desensitized to violence. We'll speak with the director of that play next. Stay right there. We'll be right back on the Metro. This is WDET-FM, Detroit Public Radio, your connection to news, music, and conversation. And this is the Metro. Stay with us.